Hey guys, welcome to another bracket breakdown here on Ballin the Boot Championship Dome Edition. And we're really excited to go over the state championship matchups. I'm your host, Jace Lejeune, joined by our beat writers here at Gridiron Football, Alex Allison and Daryl Felker. We're also joined by Grant Sachere as well as Crescent City Sports and River Sports Media. Make sure to give Grant a follow on X and also make sure to subscribe to River Sports Media on YouTube. It's got a great show. Friday nights on the Bayou. I know we talk a whole lot, myself and Grant, about a lot of these matchups throughout the season. So go and make sure to check that show out. All right, guys, let's go and talk about our Division Three non-select playoff bracket. This was a rematch of last year's state championship game between St. James and Union Parish, and St. James indeed got their revenge in a 43-36 win. Remember last year it came down to a 2-point conversion, which was by Union Parish. They went for it and they got it from last year. But St. James, no matter if this is a young football team or not, they were ready for this football game. The young quarterback really stood out on Friday with 3 touchdowns, over 300 yards passing. This is a really young group. The Young Cats is what we like to nickname them. And it doesn't matter. They weren't afraid of the moment and they got a 43-36 win. And this also stopped the streak for Union Parish as well. They're trying to attempt 5 straight championship appearances, but it ends in the semifinals. So they will take on Sterlington, that left no doubt in this football game. 14 over Gina. Right now, this Sterlington football team is gaining a whole lot of confidence in their win over the Gina Giants, coming from the big win the previous week over Oak Grove. A lot of people were saying there might have been a hangover after the big win, and I guess Coach Doty and the Panthers did not get the memo because they definitely took it out on the Gina Giants. So that will be your state championship matchup. St. James, with the number 1 seed, will take on Sterlington in the Superdome. This will be the Thursday night finale. I know Alex Allison and myself will be covering this game for Gridiron Football on Thursday. It's going to be a great matchup. Once again, similarly like to St. James and Union Parish. St. James, a great young quarterback, whole lot of weapons, skill talent. They like to air it out and go fast offensively. And you got a ground and pound football team that's tough defensively as well in Sterlington. A great conflict of styles. And it'll be a great matchup in the Superdome. Grant, I'm going to start off with you first. St. James, Sterlington, a contrast of styles. Both are really well coached. I mean, I think Coach Doty and Coach Davis, they don't get enough credit for what they do with these two football programs. And these are two of the same 4 semifinal teams from the previous year. And it's St. James. We get to see them in the Dome again after losing last year. Sterlington, this is the first time they get back in the Superdome in just a couple years, not too long. But it'll be a great matchup. What do you think? What contrast you think is going to end up prevailing in the Superdome?
This is another very interesting matchup. Of course, Sterlington, I believe maybe a little bit more. I think they're actually about the same. But I know a lot about St. James because obviously they're younger. They're on the younger side of things, and it's a team I've covered, throughout the year. I haven't been to any of their games, but I've been familiar with them throughout the 7-on-7. Just kind of following along the season. But this is a very young St. James team. The quarterback's a freshman. He just threw for 300 yards in the last game. Connie King Connie.
Yep.
The running back's really good. Jakias Villanueva, another very good receiver, another good player, a very good receiver, and they got a lot of underclassmen really on this team. But they're very talented, and that was proven that with the run. I mean, they beat a very good Union Parish team, a team that they were down and came back in to win the game. So the St. James team, but they're very explosive. With Sterlington, they're your stereotypical team from Northeast Louisiana. They're physical. They're gonna smack you in the mouth. And of course, Blue Doty's the no nonsense coach. We all saw the post where he threatened players if you care more about homecoming than show up to practice and film whatever, turn your equipment in. That's the type of coach he is. He's a no nonsense coach, and this game would be very interesting. I think St. James can pull off the victory, but Sterlington has looked very impressive throughout this playoffs, including just a complete beatdown of a very good Gina team.
Yeah, a really good Gina team, and this team's just getting more and more confident. Like you mentioned, that I guess that release from Coach Doty, the message, the letter to his team. There's only one or two ways a team can respond, and that's respond positively to it or respond negatively to it, and they definitely responded positively to that message. So Grant, you have once again, say one more time who you have in this game.
I'm gonna come back to me with that.
Okay. I'll come back to you on that. So, yeah, what do you think about this matchup? Because St. James, really good offense, really good young quarterback, and Juwan Jackson, a lot of great skill weapons. So, your typical St. James football team, they're just a little bit younger than usual. And this Sterlington team, Hagen Herring was a gridiron football player of the week last week. The younger brother of Hunter Herring, they're a smash mouth team. They've made a lot of runs to the Superdome. Once again, they make it again. Won a couple state championships too. One in 2016, one in 2021, and they have a chance to do that again. So, Daryl, who do you think is going to prevail? You think it's going to be St. James, or you think it's going to be Sterlington? It should be a good matchup.
This is a tough one. I mean, you look at Sterlington, they beat Oak Grove, who a lot of people had going to the dome, and then the next week you said maybe a little bit of a hangover effect. They get back at home and blow the doors off of Gina, 48-14. So I mean, they're looking really good right now. But I mean, if you can you go back up to look at Union Parish's path to the St. James game? Yeah, I mean, they allowed 6 points, 8 points, and 14 points, and then St. James they scored 43 on them. So that just shows how electric that offense can be. Even though we said their young freshman quarterback, he played amazing, 20 for 26, 6 incompletions. Yeah, so I mean, it's clear that they can handle the pressure and I think this is gonna be a really good game. Um, I'm probably gonna roll with Sterlington just because of I don't know. I just have that feeling they knocked off Oak Grove, then they had a really dominant win last week. But I mean, I also want to root for the freshman QB to win it his first year. So I mean, I think either way, this is gonna be a really good game. Whoever comes out on top, I'm really happy for them. But I'll roll with Sterlington.
All right. So Alex is going to be. So Alex is up to you now. I know Daryl picked Sterlington, and for you,
I'm gonna go Sterlington.
so Grant, you're going to go for Sterlington as
Yeah.
well. But Alex, I know you're kind of around those parts. You're kind of close to those parts in the river parishes as well. So I know you're familiar with St. James. What do you think about this young Wildcats football team and how they? You think that they can win the Superdome matchup against Sterlington?
These are both really good teams. This is one of those games that I think there's not. I don't want to say there's not a lot of skill in picking. It's just that it's a toss up, right? These are both
Yeah.
really, really good teams, and it's really difficult to pick between them, in my opinion. Like, I mean, I'm going to end up picking St. James, and I'll explain why in a second. But this isn't with any degree of confidence. If Sterlington wins this game, I will not be shocked in the slightest. So what I'll say is the one thing that I really like about the St. James team going into this matchup is the stylistic similarities between Sterlington and Union Parish. That they
Mhm.
just beat a Union Parish team that's similarly really physical, probably going to play in a very similar way. And so I think that gives St. James a bit of an edge. Now, Sterlington might get a chance to see what happened in that game and maybe learn from it, but I think it does give St. James an edge that they kind of know what it's going to feel like to play a team like this that's really good and is going to play in the way that Sterlington's going to play. Sterlington's awesome, and I feel very silly picking against them after being the one to say, oh, sometimes football doesn't make sense, and sometimes you're expecting, the thing to happen, and sometimes it doesn't happen. No, sometimes it's actually just that simple. And Sterlington looked awesome in the Oak Grove game, and Gina looks very vulnerable, and Sterlington just beat the crap out of them. Sometimes it is just that simple. So I feel like I might eat crow here, picking against Sterlington again. But this isn't. These two teams are awesome. It's one of the most exciting games in the bracket in the entire weekend, in my opinion. It's up there with the Silly and Franklinton game, in competition for like the second most exciting game of the weekend. Um, I am very excited. I'm going to get a chance to see this game. These are two really really good teams. I'll take St. James by a hair. This is going to be. I think this will be a very close game.
Yeah, that's a good point, Alex. I mean, I could definitely see St. James winning this football game. Sometimes youth can be a bad thing. Sometimes can be a really good thing because when you're so young, you don't know any better. You just
Yeah,
go in
yeah.
and play, and you don't really think about anything. So that I think that's really benefit St. James, the St. James team. They just go out and play. They're not worrying about anything. There's no pressure on them. They don't know pressure. They're young enough that they don't really know that. So sometimes that's a really good thing. And this team's really good. Man, I've heard a lot of good things about their quarterback too. I know Chris Singleton, who covers this team a whole lot. He was comparing this young quarterback to Will Narcisse, who was a great quarterback at St. James. So, and he's only a freshman. So, I mean, this guy's going to be really good. St. James has always had great quarterbacks and great speed. So that's going to be an interesting matchup. And Sterlington did lose this year to Union Parish. So that makes this even more interesting as well. But I just like how Sterlington's been playing. I mean, to beat Oak Grove like they did, 43-39, that was my favorite, to win the state championship game. But they've had different guys step up. Last week it was Hagen Herring. He was the guy. This week it was T.J. Birch. He was the dude. He had 2 touchdowns rushing, a touchdown catch receiving. This has always been an unselfish group. Sterlington has never had any star players or anything, but they're an unselfish team that's well disciplined and they play well together. And that's why they've been so good over the last couple of years. And this is the first time they've been in the dome since 2021, and they won that state championship game. So against Union Parish, but this is a great football team, and I think this is a team is on a really good stride right now. They're playing their best football. They have a lot of confidence. This is going to be a great football game because St. James is definitely a tough matchup for Sterlington. This is going to be, I think, this is going to be the best games in the dome that we'll see. I think this will end up being a maybe a 3-point, 6-point football game down to the very end. This has always been a bracket. It's always been great matchups in the dome, and we have one. Probably the best game last year was this state championship game between St. James and Union Parish. But I'm going to go with Sterlington. I just like how they've been playing as of late. Not discounting the St. James football team. I wouldn't be shocked if St. James wins, to be honest. But I'm going to take the slight edge to Sterlington just based off how they've been playing these last 2 or 3 weeks. So this is that. This is it. So looks like we have 3 for Sterlington. We have 1 for St. James. We'll see it all play out on Thursday night. I know Daryl's gonna be. Alex is gonna be really excited about covering that game, and I'm excited to cover it with y'all. And yeah, guys, make sure to follow all of our content not only at gridironfootballusa.com, but also at crescentcitysports.com as well. And Grant will get a chance if you go and watch the Division 4 non-select playoff bracket preview, then we'll go and talk about Crescent City sports and where you can catch a game and all that for Crescent City and Gridiron football. But make sure to check out all of our bracket breakdowns here on gridironfootballusa.com. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel, and we'll see you all at the state championship game. This will be the Thursday night finale between St. James and Sterlington.